Hello, 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 everybody. How are you? How are you? How are you? This is Kenneth Overton, and I want to welcome you to another episode of Black Opera Live, brought to you and sponsored by Black Opera Productions, LLC, the production company that is currently in production for the new amazing documentary called Black Opera, featuring the stories of Leontine Price, Martina Arroyo, Grace Bumry, Jesse Norman, Simon Estes, and George Shirley. I am so excited to be with you on this special Thanksgiving edition of Black Opera. So today, I am giving thanks for so many things. For my esteemed guests and colleagues that I have with me today, I am thankful that they were all able to go to Vienna and perform, in my opinion, America's greatest opera, Porgy and Bess, and they all did it healthy, and they were able to get home safe and sound and back with their families after sharing this amazing opera with the Austrian audiences. I'm so grateful for that. I am also very grateful for this platform to be able to share the stories of artists of color, particularly Black artists, across all the genres of music and artistic expression. It is high time and long overdue that we have a platform that showcases us, celebrates us, and I am so glad that you have been faithful viewers and supporters since I began this journey back in June of 2020. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about each of my guests before I bring them in and share them with you. First, soprano Mary Elizabeth Williams. American soprano Mary Elizabeth Williams' season of 2019-2020 began with her house and role debut at Vlaanderen Opera in the role of Elizabeth in Don Carlo in the 5-act French version of the opera. She returns to Welsh National Opera, appearing with the WNO Orchestra on tour in a series of concert performances themed A Journey to Vienna, celebrating some of Europe's finest music. In her native USA, she travels to the Lyric Opera of Chicago for another house and role debut as Gudrun in Götterdämmerung in the new Ring production by David Putney. And at her home company, Florentine Opera, she sings Lady Macbeth. To close the season, Miss Williams returns to the title role of Aida at Cincinnati Opera in a new production to celebrate their 100th anniversary season. I am so glad that she is here from Italy, everybody. Italy, Italy, Italy. I have so many different countries and cities represented today. I'm so excited and thankful that technology is allowing us to be together in this way. Next, we have soprano Brandy Sutton, my sweetheart, my little sister, whom I just simply absolutely adore. Hailed by Opera News for her sumptuous mid-weight soprano, the New York Times for her warm, ample voice, ravishing performance, and distinctive earthy coloring, Miss Brandy Sutton began her professional career with a solo recital in the province of Saint Martin and many presentations of Handel's Messiah around the United States. She has appeared in concert halls and opera stages around the world, and she has performed with opera houses such as the Sempre Opera in Dresden, Palacio Bellas Artes in Mexico City, Seattle Opera, Knoxville Opera, Opera Maine, Teatro Petruzzelli, and the New York City Opera and the Metropolitan Opera. She has also been featured with the Richmond Symphony Orchestra, the South Florida Symphony Orchestra, the Royal Danish Symphony Orchestra, the National Symphony Orchestra, Radio Orpheus Symphony Orchestra in Moscow, and the orchestra with Wynton Marsalis's Jazz at Lincoln Center Orchestra. She has also made appearances at Carnegie Hall and the John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts. She would have debuted this year with Opera Birmingham and returned to Seattle Opera and the Metropolitan Opera, but they were canceled and are postponed due to the pandemic. And so we're going to pray over all of that all comes back to fruition and even more. So welcome to the platform, Brandy Sutton. Brandy Sutton. Love her. Tashina Vaughn, baby. Tashina Vaughn is in the house. And this woman is so important to me. She's been such a blessing to me ever since I was a teenager, and I'll share a little bit of that story when we have her on the air. Mezzo-soprano Tashina Vaughn began her career as a member of the Metropolitan Opera Lindemann Young Artist Program and has established herself as an important presence among leading opera houses and concert halls around the world. Ms. Vaughn's COVID-19 impacted 2020-21 season includes her debuts at the Teatro an der Wien as Mariah in Porgy and Bess, which we were able to do in its entirety, Mary in Die Fliegende Hollander at Royal Opera in Covent Garden, Imelda in Champion with the Boston Lyric Opera postponed, and Mariah in Porgy and Bess in Hamburg, conducted by Alan Gilbert. Ms. Vaughn's original engagements during COVID-19 shortened 2019-20 season included a return to the Metropolitan Opera for the Grammy-nominated, congratulations, performances of Porgy and Bess in the role of Lily. Congratulations to Sheena and all of my friends and colleagues in the Grammy-nominated recording of Porgy and Bess at the Metropolitan, which opened the season. Her debut at Teatro an der Wien as the fortune teller in Prokevia's Fiery Angel, which was unfortunately canceled, and Mama Lucia in performances Cavalleria Rusticana at Seattle Opera, also canceled. But we're going to pray that those come back. Thank you to Sheena for being here. I am so excited. American baritone, my brother, my gosh, Eric Green. I am so glad he's here. Like, I felt like I had to go on a treasure hunt to find him. Because, you know, Eric, he will stay incognito and you cannot find him. But I have him and he's not going anywhere. He is right here and he is so fantastic. And I'm so happy to have him. American baritone Eric Green's current and future engagements, Wotan, baby, in Das Rheingold with Birmingham Opera Company in the United Kingdom, Porgy in Porgy and Bess at Teatro an der Wien, Escamillo and Carmen at the Liceu in Barcelona, Richard Nixon in China at the Scottish Opera, and Klingsor in Parsifal at Opera North. His engagements are just so numerous and so vast. Let me give y'all a little bit more. Additionally, Eric has made debuts around the world with noted companies such as the Opéra Comique in France, the Granada International Festival, the Grand Theatre in Luxembourg, Teatro Nacional in Sao Carlo in Lisbon, Portugal, the Lyric Opera of Chicago, San Francisco Opera, Opera Company in Philadelphia, Washington National Opera, Santa Fe Symphony, and Los Angeles Opera. Listen, the brother stays busy. Do you hear me? He stays busy and booked, minding his business and being fabulous. I just love him. And we are hoping that Calvin Lee is going to join us. He's having a bit of technical difficulty in Berlin right now, but we're working on it. So we're going to pray that Calvin gets in the room. But for now, I have to talk about the great maestro, Wayne Marshall. Now, I have been getting a lot of calls and emails during this pandemic. Oh, where are the Black conductors? We want a Black conductor to do this. And always out of my lips, call Wayne Marshall, because the man is a beast. He is the beast on the podium, at the organ, at the piano, whatever you put in front of him, he tears it apart. I love Wayne Marshall. And so you heard it here again, that when you need a fabulous conductor, get yourselves together, United States, call Wayne Marshall and get him over here. He's fantastic. As an organist, Wayne Marshall has served as organist and associate artist of the Bridgewater Hall, Manchester. In 2004, he gave the inaugural organ recital in the new Walt Disney Concert Hall in Los Angeles. Also in Los Angeles in 2004, he premiered James Macmillan's Organ Concerto, a Scotch bestiary with the Los Angeles Philharmonic Orchestra under Esa-Pekka. We love Esa-Pekka, baby. Marshall has appeared also as an organist at the BBC Proms. As a conductor, Marshall has held such posts as principal guest conductor of the Orchestra Sinfonica di Milano Giuseppe Verdi, beginning in 2007. Marshall was chief conductor of the WDR Funkhaus Orchestra from 2014 to 2020. And I had the honor and privilege of singing with him with that incredible orchestra. Marshall also conducted the first concert of the Chineke Orchestra, Europe's first professional Black and ethnic minority orchestra at the Queen Elizabeth Hall in London in September 2015. His work with contemporary music has included conducting the European premiere of John Harbison's opera The Great Gatsby at the Semperoper in Dresden in 2015. In 2004, Wayne Marshall received an honorary doctorate from Bournemouth University. He became a fellow at the Royal College of Music in 2010, and in October 2016, he was one of the recipients of the Golden Jubilee Award for his services to music. Listen, my friends and colleagues are fabulous. I don't know about yours, but mine are. Whether they're on the podium, on stage singing, or acting or dancing, they're fabulous. So please give a Black opera welcome to all of my guests. Welcome, everybody.
Hello.
Oh my God. I love y'all so much. I'm so inspired by the work that you have done and are doing and will continue to do. And thank you for sharing this time with me on this Thanksgiving Day weekend here in the United States. So, let's go around the room, starting with Mary Elizabeth. Would you tell the folks where you grew up and how did classical music come into your life? Like, how did this journey begin?
Okay, well, I'll try to make it short. I was born and raised in Philadelphia, and I came to classical music through the church, actually. My parents, about the time that I was around 7, they looked at each other and they said, I guess we better take this to the church. And so they started looking for a church. And I come from a mixed race family. And so trying to find a church that accepted all of us, frankly, was not easy. And so we finally ended up in this church in Center City, Philadelphia, the First Baptist Church in Philadelphia, that was extremely liberal. And so they had a truly liberal platform, but they used super classical, like, old time, fantastic oratorios and a huge history of classical music. And it was very near both the Academy Book Award and Curtis. And so we had ringers coming in from both of those schools to sing in our choir. And there was no children's choir. So I started singing in the choir there when I was 10 and with the adults. And I was sat next to the ringer one day, and she said, I was always tall. And she looked at me and she said, you really have a voice. And she said, you should take lessons. And I was very excited about that. And then she found out I was 10. And she said, well, never mind. Not right now. And of course, after I'd heard that I should take lessons, I just needled my parents until finally they let me take lessons. I started taking lessons immediately. And with her, thank goodness, so she didn't ruin me. And I've been singing ever since. That's it. That's my
Fantastic. Story. Tell us, Tashina, how did you get started?
Well, I actually started out in high school with being on stage in musical theater because when I was in the 10th grade, my mother sent me to Performing Arts High School in Atlanta. And there but mostly we did Broadway, pop, and Dreamgirls and The Wiz and things like that. But the instructor of that program was a singer himself and had been an artist. And he told me, I think you have an opera voice. And I was like, what's that? And so he took me around to some university auditions. And I happened to get into Georgia State. He got me a scholarship into Georgia State. And there I saw my first opera, which was The Medium. And I thought, that's amazing. But I didn't really get all into it until I was finally in school and I was assigned a Brahms lead because obviously they didn't let you do opera your first year. And I went to the library. We used to have real music libraries where you had to, dig through the stacks and find
the card catalog, baby, the card catalog.
And I got the number, went to the stack where it was, and there was this Black woman on the cover of this album at that time, and it was Jessie Norman. And I read, oh my God, she's from the South, she's a big Black woman. I'm gonna do this. So yeah. And then of course I went through school with you, and I left Georgia State, came to North Carolina School of the Arts and in the Met, and still living that dream.
Fantastic. Brandy, tell us something about you, where you're from, how'd you get involved in this crazy business?
Oh my God. I am from Huntsville, Alabama, and I grew up at Oakwood University. It's now Oakwood University. It was Oakwood College. And it is a very close-knit Seventh-day Adventist community. So I went to Oakwood Elementary, Oakwood Academy, and Oakwood College. So I grew up around music. Take Six started there. Angela Brown went there. Brian McKnight went there.
Wow.
Peter Richard went there. And of course, the Oakwood College Aliens. And so I always listened to them growing up, and they always sang classically. And so I didn't know I had a classical voice. I always sang gospel, like in high school and playing around in my room. And my mother forced me to join the Aliens. And I auditioned and I didn't make it in. I got into college choir, and I started taking lessons with the then director, which was Julie Moore Foster. And she heard the voice because I was like, I don't want to be in college choir, so I'm going to do what I need to do to be an Aeolian. So that's why I started taking the lessons. And she was like, I was a biology major, and she said, you need to drop biology and you need to do music. And the rest is history. And I still study with her to this day. She's like a second mom to me, so I'm so appreciative that she pushed me in that direction, as well as my mother, of forcing me to join the choir.
Fantastic. Amazing. Eric, brother, tell us. Thank you for being here.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you very much for the invitation. I am originally from Baltimore, Maryland. I still live in Maryland, but not in Baltimore at this time. And I came to find out about classical music in high school. I went to the Performing Arts High School, the Baltimore School for the Arts, and I was introduced to classical music there. I was given a 24 Italian art song, Se Ben Crudele, which I said,
yes,
Se Ben Crudel. It was my Se Ben Crudel, because I was like, what is this? And a Negro spiritual called Old Jim. And those are my two songs that I had to learn. And normal, I guess, musicians or whatever would have learned it in a week. You know, the next lesson you were supposed to have it prepared. But I think maybe a month later, I had Se Ben Crudele down and Old Jim. And look, I mean, I was inundated with French chanson and German lied and early Italian art songs. And I fell in love with classical music there. I mean, because I was a gospel singer. I grew up singing gospel. I started singing at 4 on church choir. And this classical thing was so different for me. And but it struck a chord. I think it was the nature, we always spoke about nature, and it was very hymn-like to me. I thought that the German lied was very much so close to the hymns that we did in church. So it just struck a chord. And then I had my first experience with opera, with the chamber opera group there at the school. And then we were invited to be a part of the Baltimore Opera's production of Giuseppe Verdi's Otello. And I was on stage hiding behind a rock, and I had this costume on, and no one in the audience knew who I was. And I was like, "Oh, this is what I want to do," you know. It was lights, camera, action for me, and I was like, "This is it. This fulfills every part of me," you know. Yeah. And it bit me. And I have to add one other thing: while I was there, the chamber opera group was taken to Peabody to see a recital, and the recitalist was Gordon Hawkins. And when I saw Gordon Hawkins singing, because he was on the faculty during that time, and when I saw him singing, I was like, he's Black and I'm Black. I think I can do this. And that's what changed my whole, I mean, I was almost flunking out of high school, and my 11th grade year was all turned around because of a combination of me of seeing Gordon sing and also being a part of the opera, the Baltimore Opera with the Otello. So that's how I came into this crazy business of classical music and opera and all of that. But I'm so happy I did.
Amazing. Now, Maestro, Sir Marshall, Duke of Windsor, tell us all of.
Yes. Well, I'm the only foreign voice amongst all of you here, because I'm I'm British, so you can hear the British accent comes out very loud and clear here. But anyway, it's great to be here participating in this wonderful reunion in a way. And I didn't know anything about StreamYard, but I'm certainly getting very, very interested in it. And so anyway, like Mary Elizabeth, my career also started in the church. I'm actually from Manchester, England. That's the United Kingdom, that is. And my parents came from Lord Marshall, yes, Kevin Lord Short. You see, I'm really very impressed. My parents actually came from Barbados in the Caribbean in 1957 to Oldham, Lancashire, and I was born in 1961. I have two sisters, and we were all brought up really in the church, because in fact the church was next door to our house, literally. And so every Sunday, maybe once or twice, we would be there. And it was a very, very, very strict kind of upbringing we had. Sunday school was also mandatory every Sunday. So that would have been 3 times actually that we all had to go to church. But anyway, that was really my musical foundation. And then I was very lucky to win a scholarship to go to this fantastic music school in Manchester, Chatham School of Music, and I was there for 8 very happy years. And I discovered on day one that I was not the only person in the school who could play the piano. So then my attention turned to other things like football and other sports, and just getting to know other children, and and of course seeing my friends in the school, especially the other end of the school, and saying, yeah, I want to be as good as they, if not better. So but I always knew that classical music or being a musician was what I wanted to do. And there was one guy in the school, the organist David Hill, who was really my kind of idol. And I really wanted to be like him. And so I sort of just worked hard, and in the end, when I reached the top end of the school, then of course that's where I was then. So it was all very interesting. And then after Chatham School, I went to the Royal College of Music in London, and was there for 4 years, and studied with two very, very fine music teachers, music professors, both piano and organ. And in my second year, I went then I was organ scholar at St George's Chapel, Windsor Castle, for 3 years, which was fantastic. And that was, I really was quite keen on then becoming a cathedral organist or concert organist. But then in 1985, my sister Melanie invited me to go and play for an audition at Glyndebourne Opera. And the opera, of course, was Porgy and Bess. So, we went down. I remember it was a Friday afternoon, and we met Sir Simon Rattle, and Melanie was excited, but they were actually quite more interested in me, because they a black pianist, they'd never really sort of come across. So Simon gave me the score of the Jasper Brown Blues, and as we can say, the rest is history. I was Jasper Brown. I was also repetiteur, so this world of opera was completely new to me. But I engrossed it, and I think this changed my whole outlook on life as a musician. I was very interested in becoming a cathedral organist, but then going to Glyndebourne and being in the real music world changed all of that. So Glyndebourne. Then in 83, 84, I was studying in Vienna. I had a postgraduate study scholarship, and then after that, I started more conducting, and that's basically where I am.
Well, somebody is knocking on the door. Let me go see who it is.
Calvin.
Finalmente.
You know I'm a traumatic tenor.
For everybody else out there who's hosting shows, when you have tenors on, just prepare for dramatics. He wanted to make a grand entrance. Everyone else is here. I love you, darling. It's so good to see you. And now that you're here, it's your turn to speak. Where you're from and how did you get into classical music? Tell us.
I am from Miami, Florida. and I was born in New York but raised in Miami. I got started in the classics by my dearly departed mom. She threw me into the arts. I guess she knew that I was a special kid, and and I loved dance. I loved um, drama and art. I can't draw for anything. My brother could draw, but I could always sing. And I started off as a dancer, which I really was not good at, but I could move and still shake a tail feather if you let me.
Fantastic. Now, Maestro mentioned something about idols and mentors, and I wanted to ask you all, who were some of the people that you listened to growing up that inspired you on this path? Let's start with Tashina. Tell us, darling.
Well, first of all, I have to go back because I forgot to say I'm from Winston-Salem, North Carolina. I thought about it after I talked about it. I did do schooling in Atlanta, but Winston-Salem, y'all rock. Hey. Okay. Jesse, and Jesse.
Did you say Jesse?
I think I said Jesse because, as I said, when I opened that CD in the library at Georgia State University, I was just taken, And I'll be honest, this is going to be funny because before that, I really loved Barbara Streisand. Loved Barbara Streisand. At home, obviously, I sang Patti LaBelle, Aretha Franklin, Gladys Knight, and Natalie Cole was my specialty. But, at school, I fell in love with, but then because my first song was Après un rêve. And when I went to the card catalog that time, I came upon Barbara Classical. So obviously I went to my lesson going, my teacher was like, no. Then she gave me Brahms. And once I discovered Brahms, I think I devoured everything Jesse Norman. I still own, at least 10 Jesse Norman CDs. And this affinity, this type of voice that she had, where she sang Brahms and I sang Brahms, and that was the right color, it felt like, So I was really, and she was originally a mezzo as well. And she decided to live in the extension, for a while. But so she was a huge influence on me, Jesse Norman, as far as going into the classical scene. Yeah, and of course I discovered others as I went along, but that was really the inspiration.
Well, I have to tell everybody that doesn't know that you are a huge inspiration to me, and it came at a very pivotal moment in my life. Back when I was in high school in Philadelphia, at the Philadelphia High School for Creative and Performing Arts, the North Carolina School of the Arts did an audition tour, and they would go to every performing arts high school on the East Coast. And the dean, Larry Allen Smith, and assistant dean, Dean Yankovich, came to our high school and auditioned us. And they brought with them a tape recorder. My God. And I sang my 3 hits, Per la Gloria, and Deep River, and Where You Walk. And after the audition, they said, well, here's a packet of our information. We'd love to stay in touch with you, and maybe you'll choose North Carolina School of the Arts. And on the front of their publicity materials was a gigantic photo of Tashina Vaughn. And I said to myself, as a 17-year-old, wherever she is, that's where I want to go.
That's right.
And so I went to the North Carolina School of the Arts, and I am so glad that they, even at that time, knew that representation really, really does matter.
Really matters.
It was a life-changing moment for me, and probably the best decision I ever made in regards to my education. And as you know, on my show, I have receipts of people and their excellence. And so I want to play a little clip of Miss Vaughn, and you will see and hear why she is such an inspiration.
Thank you.
Gorgeous, 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 gorgeous.
Thank you.
Boondoggle.
Thank you.
Singing.
Just gorgeous, just gorgeous. My gosh.
Thank
So,
you.
Eric, will you tell us about who your early mentors were outside of the great Gordon Hawkins?
You know, to be honest, it is so, I have to say this. It is unfortunate that we don't have as much male representation, Black male representation, when we want to go and find someone that looks like us out there. And so I have to really be honest, my inspiration for classical music and the drive and all of the little, I guess the real important details about classical music came from Leontine Price. I love Leontine Price. I love her, and besides her beautiful voice and the instrument, it was just to hear her speak about music, to hear her speak about the what it actually takes to be a musician.
Yes.
It inspired me. I mean, just the seriousness that she spoke about the art form in such a serious way. You know, when she said she would make choices of whether or not she would go out because she knew she had to prepare for something important the next day. You know, that spoke to me as a teenager, as a youngster. You know, in college. I mean, from high school, I went straight to Juilliard. So it was just that focus I needed. And she always spoke about focus, 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 focus. That was her word. She always said, you know, and she inspired me. She really did inspire me the most out of anyone. And then, of course, I met other singers. And of course, it was Jessie. When I wanted to hear diction, I wanted to hear German diction, I would listen to Jessie. And when I wanted to be inspired with just raw, abandon emotion and full-bodied singing, I would listen to Shirley Barrett. You know, you know. So those were the girls. They really did it for me. And then after going to Juilliard, meeting Simon Estes, you know, and then you know, my teacher said to me, my voice teacher at high school, which is Jean Carter. I have to mention her name. Jean Carter is the architect of my voice, and to hear you know, her say to me that I was a young Simon Estes. So then it put me on a journey to find out who Simon Estes was, you know. So, but I still couldn't have interviews with him and find out what inspired him, what drove him. I didn't hear those interviews. I just heard his singing, and it was impressive. But to hear his story, I didn't know his story. So it was hard to connect with him. I just connected with what I heard and the majesty of him. I mean, Simon Estes is tall, and you know, his voice just flows out. You know, it's just impressive. So he inspired me as well later. But my first inspiration was Leontine Price.
Well, of course, y'all know I have receipts, and if you want to hear voice pouring forth, get up into this.
Oh
Brother, you better holler that out.
Yeah.
Go on and scream at the folks. Scream at the folks. Listen, that's just amazing. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Bravo.
Thank you.
And so now, Madam Mary Elizabeth Williams, would you tell us about your early inspirations and mentors and idols and all of that helped guide you through this?
I was hoping you were going to skip me for this because I have to say that my answer is not going to be
we keep
nearly
it
as
real
full
here
as the rest of y'all. I have to say that really the singer that has affected me the most in my life up until now is Frank Sinatra.
Fantastic.
Ain't nothing wrong with. Listen, a legend is a legend is a legend.
Right.
That's right.
I know. There's just something about the way that he values every word when he sings.
Absolutely.
And he tells a story. And he takes risks with his with the colors that he uses. And I've just always learned a lot from him about how to sell a song. And I will also say that the first classical singer that just caught me, I was in Tower Records in downtown Philadelphia. I was a teenager, and I don't know what I was doing. They were playing Cecilia Bartoli's first album, and literally was on the steps. I was headed up to look for something, and I said, "Who is that?" I went immediately to someone, and I said, "Tell me what you're playing," and I bought it that day.
Yeah.
And I have never had a reaction to her music or anyone else's music since then. There was something really special about that first album. And also, I think it was largely about how she sold the song. Even if at that time, I didn't understand exactly what she was saying. Every single word had meaning. And later on in life, now that I know more and I listen to opera more than I did when I was young, people like Maria Callas, people like, there are lots of them. Shirley Barrett, absolutely. These people that sell a song and you know that they know exactly what they're saying at every layer. And not only do they know what they're saying, they know what everyone else on stage is saying at every layer. And that turns me on. Yeah. That turns me on more than anything else. And so I guess I come to it always from a linguistic perspective as opposed to pretty sounds. I like pretty sounds, but I really, really like when you get me with the word. So Frank is
absolutely.
My favorite. And Jacques Brel also, the French version.
Yeah.
So anyway.
I'm so glad you said that, because when I listen to you and when I see you perform, it's all in. Like, you go all the way in, and I love that. And anybody who knows me knows that Maria Callas sits right here on the left side of God. Huh? Because can we talk about it? Can we talk about it?
Yes.
She is everything to me.
Y'all just made me lose my light and everything.
And so
on the left side of God.
She says right here, right here. And so, as you know, I have receipts. And Mary, I want to talk about, again, when this clip is over, the importance of having an opera company itself that supports you and that pours into you. It's a topic, I think, that it's really, really important. And this is a great example. Girl, you better go on and holler.
Thank you.
Girl, listen.
Thank you. Boy,
And-
I spend a lot of time suffering when I sing, don't I? Lord. Some happy rolls. Oh,
Listen,
I'm always mad.
Just mad and sad. I love it. But listen, though, Seattle Opera clearly loves you. Can you tell the folks how that relationship started and the importance of it to an American artist, and particularly American artists of color?
Yes. Well, we have to go back almost 20 years because in 2001, I was a young artist at Seattle Opera when Spade Jenkins was running the company and Dean Williamson was running the Young Artist program. They were only, I think, in their second or third year of doing a 3-month program. And Lord, I couldn't get anybody to take me back then. I would just audition and audition. I ran around all over. Nobody wanted me because I wasn't useful, you know? I had this big old voice that I didn't know what to do with yet. And everybody kept saying, well, you're not useful to us. And Seattle was the only place in America that said,
starts in 10 minutes.
Sorry, I'll just keep talking. It was the only place that would take me on and would say, okay, we know that you have stuff to work out, but we think that your talent is worth it, and so we're going to take this risk. And so they got me as a young artist for Dona Elvira. I did an okay job, but frankly, Mozart's never been my jam. And so I went away and did other things. I did the Young Artist program in Paris and blah, blah, blah. And then many years later, in 2007 or even 6, I did an audition for Spade Jenkins again. And I had nothing on my resume. I had done nothing except for maybe a Porgy and Bess Atlanta. That was it. And I walked in there and I was hoping that he was going to give me the third tree from the left or, you know, an understudy of Zerlina. I didn't care. You know, I was looking for work. And he heard me and he said to me, Mary Elizabeth, I'm so happy to see you again. You were in our program? And he didn't remember me at all. And I said to him, and I couldn't even stop myself because I really shouldn't have said it, but I said, hey, I'm 6 feet tall. How could you not remember me at all? Like, really? But he had no idea who I was. And then he said, well, anyway, we have good taste. We're going to hire you again. We'll find something for you to do. And I walked out of that. I was so happy. And I said, oh, I'm going to get to be a Norn, or not even a Norn, like an understudy, third understudy of a Norn. And they said, my agent said, they want to hire you either for Trovatore or Mephistopheles. And I said, what?
Wow.
And, you know, he hired me. And I said, I have no experience. And just the fact that he hired me, all of these other smaller companies were like, oh, we want Mary Elizabeth for Trovatore too.
Right.
And I was the same person that I had been singing for all these auditions for all these months that nobody would take. And Spade Jenkins just put his little stamp of approval on me. And then all of a sudden I had work. It was wonderful. And then after I went there and did a good job, second cast, they kept hiring me. And then when Spade Jenkins retired and Aiden Lang took over, they kept hiring me. And I am so grateful. I'm so, so grateful to them. This is actually a Seattle Opera shirt.
Opera rocks, baby.
Yeah. I love that place. And I love singing at McCall Hall. And I haven't been there since they put in the new building. And I would really like to go back and sing. But they've been so great. But they're not the only ones. I also have to put a shout out to Opera St. Gallen in Switzerland. Peter Heiliger, he has hired me and rehired me, and he has been faithful. And Welsh National Opera they're fantastic. I have gotten a lot of good work with them. And then also just individual people like David Powley. He calls for me and requests me, and I appreciate that. I think we shouldn't underestimate how important it is as artists, not just to be cradled by theaters, but to be cradled by fellow artists. And to have people like you, for example, we're just saying about Maestro Marshall. You know, when we have the power finally to be able to give recommendations or put people's names in, that's so important. It's so important because it builds family. And then when we get together and we work together, it feels good, you know, because you're safe for split space. Every time I go back to a theater or work with the same people over again, I'm free. I'm free than I was the last time. That's true for all of us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for that. And thank you for those amazing performances. I just love them.
Indeed.
Calvin, tell us, darling, who inspires you? What voices, what artists have inspired you throughout your journey? Can you hear me, Calvin?
Oh, hello. Okay, I can hear you now.
Yes.
Well,
tell us.
Well, you know the first answer.
Yes.
Shirley Verrett, Leontine Price,
Thank
Eartha
you.
Kitt, Felicia Weathers, and I was very fortunate to have many Black role models from Miami. I had Marvis Martin. I had Keith Crawford, a baritone. He's deceased now. Willie Waters, who's like my opera dad. That's how I know about opera. Thank you, Willie. Carolyn Stanford. Her new name is Carolyn Stanford Adams, but she's from Philadelphia too. And she was teaching at the University of Miami, and she was the only Black person on the campus and in the School of Music there. They tried to recruit me there, but I didn't want to go to UM. I wanted to get out of Miami. And that's what I did. And so those are the people that inspired me and led me on the path that I'm on now. And I took off once I found my voice, and I'm still finding it. It's out there somewhere.
Listen, mine is too, especially during these COVID times. I have to remind him, you work for me, voice.
Right.
So I need you to show up. Well, and Calvin, I'm so glad you sent me this clip of you, because talking about this particular show is the main reason that we're here today, because of the incredible feat that you all accomplished. But this compilation took place at a very special company at a very special time in all of our lives. And to be known for so many of the roles in this American masterpiece has to be an incredible feeling. And I want to talk to you about that as soon as we are finished with this receipt here. Bravo, sir.
Yeah.
I mean, you just eat up the stage every time you're on. You're a stage animal.
Animal. Okay.
And I believe
Thank
that I have done this show with you so many times, and each time you've been a different person.
I'm always a different person up here.
Well, that requires medication, but I'm talking about on stage. I've been in the show with you as Robbins, as Mingo, as Peter. Talk to me about what it means to you in this piece to just be all over it and through it.
Well, when I first did Porgy and Bess, I had auditioned for it in Miami. I was graduating from the school at the New World School of the Arts, and the Houston Grand Opera was coming through Miami. They were doing their national tour, and I was ready to graduate, and I was like, oh my God, I see all these wonderful singing Black people up there. And I said, what have I gone and done? What am I getting myself into? But then they hired me, and I got a chance to be mentored by everybody, every single person, Marquita Lister, Roberta Laws, and Albie Powell, I mean, so many people, so many who I'm still in contact with to this very day. And they all trusted me, and Houston actually groomed me for Robbins. That was my very first role, and which I did in Wien. And it's been 2 decades since I've done that now, but I've done every single tenor role except Sport and Life on the big stage. I've done it in concert, but every other role in P&B I have done. But my thing is, I've always wanted to be a character tenor. In America, we say character tenor. If you're not the lead, you're the second. So that's the character tenor. And I hadn't had, but here in Germany, it's completely different. But that's my thing. And I love being different people. I like getting into the psyche of people and why they do what they do, and connecting with my other colleagues. And that's what it's all about. Like Mary Elizabeth and Tashina said, people know what they're talking about. Well, they should know what they're talking about. And for me, it's like, if I'm having a duet with somebody, or I'm in the middle of a trio or a sextet or something, we all have our opinions and we're all voicing them, but we're reacting to each other. And that's what I like to do, is react to my colleagues, be it bad or good, but mostly good.
Absolutely. Yeah. Wayne, welcome back, sir.
Yeah, welcome back, everybody. I'm afraid there's been a total power failure in Malta everywhere. Total power failure.
Yeah, I see darkness all around you.
Yeah, completely. It's quite scary actually. So I had to get out the house. I came out without my mask, so I'm here maskless in the city. We're supposed to be wearing them outside. But anyway, sorry for that interruption. But
no, it's fine.
Well, thank you for coming back.
Yeah, thanks for coming back, Maestro.
Yeah. And we've got Martina's here with me. She always wants to know what's going on, so I can't keep her away. So, anyway.
Hello, Martina, my dear. So, Brandy, tell us, darling, who inspires you to do what you do? I mean, I know that you inspire so many because you're so multi-talented, because you can sing anything that anybody puts in front of you. But who are some of your inspirations in this craziness?
I think the first introduction I kind of had to it was Kathleen Battle and Jesse Norman's Spirituals concert.
Iconic.
So
I was there.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that. That concert was like life-changing for me. I mean,
Yes.
people would always say to me when I would sing, when I did start studying, that I was Kathy's daughter. They're like, you're Kathleen. So I always tried to sing exactly like all of her pianissimi and all of that little small space singing. I would always try to emulate. And also, Renee Fleming was another artist that my voice teacher played for me when she first was trying to get me to switch over to music. Obviously, Leontine Price. My grandmother used to tell me about her all the time. She also used to tell me about Dorothy Maynor.
Yeah.
I would also listen to Caballé. For me, it was the singing. As far as like, because I'm like Mary Elizabeth, I want to see a story told. And, you know, if the singing is not that great, and this is what I tell like any students that I've ever had or anybody else, I'm like, people will forgive ugly sound if you make them feel something. But sometimes that ugly sound comes from an emotion. So,
That's true.
you know, if you are continuously doing that throughout the song, you know, people don't care what you think sounded a mess. So as far as like actresses, I would always watch Netrebko and Desai as far as like the acting. But yeah, that would probably be, and also, and I already said Jesse, but yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, this clip, which I'm so glad you shared with me because I didn't know it existed, and I believe the composer's birth date is next week. And I'm so happy that you shared this. And your collaborator has just rejoined the conversation. And the people, my director of the documentary that Black Opera is doing was able to get the whole song on by sort of reducing something electronic. I don't know, but he was able to get the whole song on, and I'm so excited to share this with everyone. Please enjoy. Exquisite, my dear. Absolutely exquisite. Both of you, just stunning. And just so that you know, December the 2nd, which is Wednesday, is Harry T. Burley's 154th birthday. So go get some Burley in your life.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Thank you, Brandy and Maestro, for that gorgeous, gorgeous performance. So, Maestro, will you tell us about this whole Porgy and Bess experience? How were you all able to get through this COVID-free in rehearsals and flying in from different countries? What was this process like?
Well, first of all, can you all hear me?
Hmm.
Perfectly.
Okay, good. Because there's a bit of trouble. The power has now been restored here
I see light again.
in Valletta.
Yeah.
My goodness, yeah. Now we see the light. Well, I mean, it was first of all an amazing experience that we were able to do this at all. I mean, I was on the phone almost on a daily basis throughout July and August. You know, with the people from Vienna and with Matthew, and you know, it was touch and go. You know, we were very, very nervous, but one of the big stipulations, of course, that we had to be tested every 4 days, which we certainly didn't like the idea of. But you know, the idea of having this COVID test is really a nightmare for all of us. But I think we all found a way that we could do it, that it was actually a pleasant experience. And actually, I actually got used to it, you know, when they were doing it. So, you know, we were all told that we had to, you know, keep within a certain bubble and, you know, not to be going out and socializing and just generally just keeping oneself to oneself.
Yeah.
And, you know, safety was the key. And as I said, you know, in light of, you know, we got through all the 10 performances. If you think that, you know, what happened, you know, 2 weeks after we left, that this terrible, tragic terrorist situation, and you know, that was obviously a great tragedy. And then, of course, the COVID situation. I gather that, of course, things are still not great, but I gather that there are still some members of the cozy cast are stranded, still stuck in Vienna, believe it or not. I think if that's correct. Correct me if I'm wrong. I hadn't heard that, but yeah, I mean that's amazing to think that, you know, that people are still there, stranded.
Wow.
But you know, we were very lucky, and it was a fantastic experience doing this Porgy. You know, it will go down for me as being one of the best. You know, we had a wonderful cast, great director. We had a wonderful theatre to perform in. We had a great orchestra, and yeah, it was just. I mean, even though the theatre was operating at something like 55%, it didn't really feel as if it was operating at 55%. Yeah,
Now, was it operating at 55% because that was the law that was put in place, or because that was people's level of comfort?
No, that was the
No,
law.
that's the law.
The law was that the theatre had to operate at 55%. So, and that, of course, that played a lot of havoc with ticket sales. You know, we were not allowed too many complimentary tickets, or you know, it was difficult. I mean, you know, but listen, we had a very successful Porgy, and you know, we got through it without any hitches, and it was a great musical experience. You know, for me, it was just fantastic.
Wow. So, Tashina, did you have any reservations with going during this time?
Of course. But I just wanted to add that to Marsha, before I answer your question, is that, and not only was it a wonderful experience and we all enjoyed ourselves, it was something it was like, you know, thirsty people getting some water after a while. And it got to be, even at 55%, whatever they were operating at, they sold so many tickets that they were coming to our dressing rooms asking, could we stay one more day so that they could add a show or two
Wow.
Right.
in the
Mhm.
period that in the 2 days before we all were to leave. And the only reason they didn't do it was because they just couldn't figure it out, because we had the chorus of people from South Africa that already had their tickets. We were just too expensive to change, or whatever the situation was. But so I mean, it was not only a balm for our souls, but I mean, several people there in Vienna, which is a very culturally thirsty town in every case, said that the people of Vienna really needed it. So yeah, and of course, we all had trepidation. I mean, in all
Mhm.
honesty, we started communicating with each other. About before going, like, oh, is it really going to happen? Because I think although we all had these contracts for some time, they also weren't clear, like Maestro said. There was a lot of back and forth in June, July, what was going to happen, and it was late when we got if you ask me, late in the opera planning times, when we got the news that yes, they were going to try to push it through. And we were all like, oh my God, are they going to do it concertante? How are they going to do it? How are they going to keep us safe? And
Yeah.
we had agents involved with, how are you going to keep us safe? How in the world are we going to do a contact production, when with, even if it was only 10 people, but I think in the end there were about 25 people in the chorus, and then all of us principals, and double cast of the Porgy and Bess and Serena. But we, as we said, we were able to do. But yes, we had a lot of trepidation. But I do have to, I commend Theater an der Wien and how they were able to handle it.
Yeah.
And I think also we didn't have a need to go outside of our circle, because we were all family anyway, and we love each other's company anyway, and we love working with each other anyway. So the rule sort of was, you can't go out with, because they divided it into colors. So were we the red group, guys?
We were the red.
Yeah.
Right. So the red group couldn't have contact with the yellow group, or
Or the
different
green.
colors groups. But our group was all red, so we were all cool, because we could all just go together, And as long as you were with the people who were also, because one group was not tested every 4 days, only the red group was tested every 4 days. So you had to only socialize with people of the red group. But it was such a blessing that these were the people of the red group. So
That's fantastic. So Eric, tell us. Well, first I want to know, how do you feel about now being sort of inducted into the Porgy Hall of Fame? Because I look at it as a gigantic boys club, like this sort of torch that has been passed down from Todd Duncan and William Warfield, and Michael Smart and Donnie Ray and Gordon, and our dearly departed Arthur Woodley and Eric Owens and Lester Lynch and the Kevin Short. And
Kevin Short.
now it's on us. So how does it feel to be the newest brother into the fold?
Man, it is an honor. I feel very honored. It is a role that I have eyed since I began singing, since I began being a professional singer. Of course, we talked about my teacher saying Simon Estes, and finding out that Simon Estes sang Porgy and Bess. He sang Porgy and Bess, and I was, it was a role that I had eyed, and I didn't know what age I would do it, because it's one of those roles that you hear so many stories about, and you build up your own trepidation about the role based on what other people have said about it. Even the opera, the opera itself, it comes with a lot of just so many stories that you take on that baggage, and you have to find a way to unpack it and make a decision for yourself about the opera itself. That's number one, which you didn't ask me that question, so I won't go there, but I will.
Listen, you
I'll
can go any way you want on this platform.
Okay, on the second part, I do want to address a little bit of that. But what I would like to say first, of the honor of being a Porgy, to sing Porgy. My first one was 2 years ago with ENO, which is the Porgy that went to the Met and the Porgy that went to Amsterdam and all of that. But I opened the production with
Let the
ENO.
folks know. Let the folks know. You were the first. Let them know.
No, but it was great. It was an honor. It was an honor because again, I like Mary Elizabeth has a similar story to like Mary is saying, I thought I was going to be, not a cover, but I thought I was going for Jake. I said, well, maybe I'll do Jake, at the Met or something like that. I was thinking. And then they told my managers, we want him for Porgy, for E&O. And I was like, you want me for Porgy? And it just was a big sigh of not even a relief. It was a sigh of like, I was astonished really to hear that. And of course I began to go into my mind about the role, about who Porgy was immediately. And I was like, oh my goodness. And so much, I took so much of it, in parts, just to understand who he was through the music. I knew who he was as a person a little bit because based on my family and some people I say this reminds me of Porgy, this reminds me of Porgy, and pulling bits of those elements in. But just to find out who Gershwin thought Porgy was, who he said he was, and it was a process, and it was an awesome process for me. And and like you said, to name all those others, Donnie Ray Albert, who I've had the pleasure of working with, not as Porgy, but working with him and just seeing how he moves and acts on stage. Kevin Short, Kevin is my big brother. Kevin is my man. And to see him do the role, to hear him sing the role, I remember very distinct. His voice is in my ear. Gordon Hawkins, Eric Owens. I sat right beside Eric as he sang. I sat right beside Gordon as he sang in my ear. I got plenty of nuttin'. I was with the Cheska Productions. That was my first meeting with Porgy and Bess. And Wayne was the conductor for that, the first Cheska production that I did. And I sang Jake, so just to hear those Porgies and to be on stage with that energy, and then to now have to be the one standing in those shoes, it's an honor. I was so honored, so honored. And I think after this performance, after this run of performances, I feel like I'm in those shoes good. I'm firmly set in those shoes. Those shoes are tied up on my feet and they belong to me.
Oh, they up to your knees.
Yeah. Oh, they're up to my knees. Okay.
They're up to your knees.
They're boots.
And they meant for walking.
It is an honor. It is an honor, and just to be able to be named among those names that you called, and of course, as you being a Porgy, and I remember watching your journey through singing Porgy, Kenny. I have to say that just years of hearing Kenny Overton and singing Porgy, Kenny Overton singing, just hear your voice, hear your name, all the time. And then I remember you writing. This was what was it? 500? Am I?
No, just 100. Just 100. Jesus.
Oh, 100. Okay, 100.
My knees started to hurt when you put the 5 on there.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't remember what that was, because it seemed like we do so many performances of it that that's not far fetched. But anyway, so 100.
I'll leave those numbers to Alvy Powell.
Oh, okay, all right. But to hear that and to read that, I was. It's just an honor. It's an honor to be named among those wonderful names. And I have to say that the baggage that Porgy and Bess comes with, a lot of young singers, even I was told, you don't want to sing Porgy too early because you'll be pigeonholed in Porgy and Bess, and you'll just be a Porgy and Bess singer. And I have to say that Porgy and Bess has been nothing but a blessing to me. Mm-hmm. Nothing but a blessing to me. And I will not lessen that work and take away the dignity, the honor, the majesty of that piece, to dull it down to I'm afraid of being pigeonholed into this. No, I will make a door away from myself by learning other music. I will do what I need to do to get my languages together, whatever it takes to sing the other classical pieces that we all desire to sing. I will do that, but I will not let Porgy and Bess be. I don't say that about Escamillo. I don't say that about Amon Asro. I don't want to be pigeonholed in Amon Asro. I mean, no. Porgy and Bess has been a blessing. I bought my first house I paid a down payment on my first house from that Porgy that I did with Washington National Opera.
Won't he do it?
And then to this one that we're talking about now, in the middle of a pandemic, this contract was still honored, and I was able to go and perform the role of Porgy and to be a part of the opera Porgy and Bess in the middle of a pandemic, a worldwide pandemic, still be able to vibrate still be able to serve from the bounty of my gift, and to be able to get a little bit of money to keep me, to sustain me a little bit longer on this life thing, this journey called life.
Amen.
So it's just, I refuse to join in that chorus of Porgy and Bess is some type of way a negative light. Has a negative light. We know what the negativities are, but to highlight them, to put them on myself, and not welcome that wonderful music and welcome those wonderful characters, absolutely I won't. So
I'm so glad you shared that, and I thank you, brother. Brandy, tell us, darling, it was touch and go with you for a moment, getting over there and not being able to have Judah with you, and he was supposed to be in the show. Tell us about all of this drama and how you were able to get through it successfully.
Oh man. I look for signs in things when I'm, trying to make a huge decision. And so I would say, okay, I'm going to ask this person and see what they say. And whatever they say, I'm going to do. So if somebody says, oh, well, I don't think you should go. You should be careful because if you get COVID, it could affect your voice in the long run, and you may not be able to sing any other contracts that come up after COVID is done. And I was like, oh, but what if I'm going to be okay? And then I would ask somebody else, and they'd be like, oh, I think you'll be fine. How many cases do they have in the country there? And how are the numbers? What is the population? And, oh, you'll be fine. And then I was like, oh, what if I catch it? So I kept going back and forth with myself, and and I was talking to the creator and was like, what do I do? I don't know what to do. Nothing is clear. And I think it finally just boiled down to let me just make a decision for myself. And I said, Brandy, now if you don't go and they hire somebody else and go on through with the show and it's a success and they get through it, you're going to be really upset. So you know what? I'm going to risk it all. And I'm going to just go. And Judah could not come with me because his passport needed to be renewed. And there's a one-day office here, maybe 45 minutes from my house, but they were still in phase 2 of reopening because of COVID. So they were like, only life or death situations. We cannot get the passport done. So I'm like, so I have to leave my child. So, and that's why he couldn't come and be in the show. But thankfully, he was able to stay here with his dad, and he enjoyed his time with him. They had a nice bonding. So that was it was actually a relief. Everything worked out perfectly. And honestly, I miss that kid because that is my sidekick. But I was so glad to get a break. It was so much. I mean, so many things happened on that trip from the time that I got on the plane and just had time to sit and reflect on Brandy and changes that I needed to make, steps I needed to take when I got back, and even being there, experiences that I had. I found out that I had a doppelganger in Eric Green, and me and T'China became like this. I adore that diva. I mean, it's even like auditioning for other people and getting the feedback that I got. It was just like this entire trip was supposed to happen. So even with all the drama, I always learned that the more drama I have, like the greater the blessing is going to be once I get to the other side. So I'm just so glad that I went with so many experiences that I needed and appreciate.
Yeah, fantastic. Now, Mary Elizabeth, what was this experience like for you? Because you were double cast with Pumeza, correct?
Yes, I was double cast. Originally, Pumeza was supposed to be just Serena. And then because of the casting issues around COVID, she was also asked to sing Bess. And she had never sung either one of them. And so it was very stressful for her. She did 2 fantastic reviews, and I'm very proud of her. I love her. as an artist and as a singer, and I tried to support her as well as I could, and I tried to give her all of my Serena chord pointers that I could. And Tina was there too. She is a famous and wonderful Serena before she was singing Mariah, so she was Cueza was handled. Between the two of us, we made sure that she knew what she needed to do as Serena. But so yeah, I ended up singing more Serenas because Pumeza needed to have days off so that she could sing Bess. And that was good. My husband was happy that I came home with a bigger check. The bad part was that 2 weeks into the rehearsal, my mother fell and broke her ankle. And my mother travels with me a lot. And that was very stressful. So my mother lives with me now because I'm an only child. My father passed away in 2001. So it's just the two of us. And she's getting, along in years, as we say. And I said, Mom, I don't want you over in Philadelphia, and I'm in Europe. And I work primarily in Europe. And so we just moved her in with us here, and which is great. And she travels with me. And this was the first time we ever had anything like this. But I have to say, it turned my life upside down. And my colleagues will tell you, I mean, the days after it happened, I could barely, it was awful. I was crying all the time. I would come to rehearsal and burst into tears. I mean, thank goodness I was singing a sad role. That helped. But it was a mess. And then trying to organize my mother's care and her surgery in Austria. I mean, I speak a number of languages, but German is not one of them. And so that was also stressful. But thank the Lord, we got through it. And, in some ways, after I got over the initial shock, I realized that it was actually a blessing, a good thing, because my mother was with me.
Yeah.
She wasn't in Philadelphia in her condo by herself, laying on the floor from 2 a.m. until, whenever somebody missed her the next day. So I'm very grateful for that. I think it was one of the first times that I have been on a job that I didn't have to just think about myself, alternatively to Brandy. Brandy had an unhappy separation from her son, but it was also lovely to be able to think about just herself. And I understand now more what it is to be a mom. Not that my mother is,
no, understood.
Responsible for taking care of someone while you're also trying to sing every night and deliver with your family and deliver on stage at the same time. And it has given me an enormous respect for women especially, but also men who have families, who have children, who have people that are depending on them, that are not self-sufficient. And it has changed the whole way I think about family and how important it is. And I'm so grateful that I was doing Porgy and Bess and not a debut of Tristan und Isolde.
Right.
Because I had people around me who helped me, and I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful. It worked out exactly as it should have. And my mom is great now. She's, doing well. It's all good. It's all good. But it was touch and go, y'all. It was touch and go. All the togetherness that they talk about in the red zone, I was not involved in that. I was in the hospital. Or those are the two things I did in Vienna.
Yeah. Maestro,
do you still have that tiger bone?
Yeah, listen, guys. Sorry to interrupt. Unfortunately, I had to leave the meeting because we had a bit of an emergency situation because of the power outage here, and of course now we need to go and eat. And because I'm not at home, and I'm on 4G, and my children are desperate to eat. And so, listen, family first. So
Hey, Jennifer.
Here, and listen, this has been a wonderful reunion. I have to say, it's been really great to see everybody. Brandy, it's great to see you again, my darling. And love that they put the video up there. We had some really great fun with that. Eric, it was great
Same
working
here.
with you as well. Porgy, fantastic. Mr. Mr. Overton, great to see you as well, sir.
You too, Lord Marshall.
Dr. Calvin, great to see you. Absolutely, to see you again. Tachina, words fail me. Just been fantastic. Mary Elizabeth, it's been fantastic just seeing you again and working with you, and just been fantastic. Listen, my apologies. It's just because I have to go, but it's just been
We
great.
love you, Maestro.
Love you, Maestro.
We have great,
So much love and
fun.
respect.
We have great fun, and forgive me for having to go, but I've got to go.
Yes.
Bye, Martina.
Bye.
Happy Christmas to you. For those speak to you
Bye.
again.
Yes,
Bye,
you
Martina.
too.
Actually,
Bye, Martina.
Actually,
Merry
Brandy,
Christmas.
Brandy, I need to talk. I need to call you when I can. I need to talk to you. All right, Alana. Take care. Yes. Okay. Take care.
I'll be waiting.
Thanks.
Ciao.
Bye. Ciao. Ciao.
Ciao,
Thanks.
ciao,
Thanks,
ciao,
Ken.
ciao.
So while we're on Maestro, he's so humble about his greatness. I have another receipt in my bag. Now, I have been blessed to work with him 4 times now. And the first time was 22 years ago at the Bregenz Festival in 1998. And it was my first time in Europe ever. And he was alternating conducting performances with Maestro Andrew Litton. And it was an incredible cast. And I just loved working with him. And he also conducted me with his orchestra in Cologne, Germany, the WDR orchestra, the radio orchestra, and also in my debut at l'Opéra de Montreal. And he's just so fantastic and so multi-talented. So in Dortmund, it was a concert version, his arrangement of the Porgy Suite for 4 singers and orchestra. And in the dress rehearsal, he did something that I had never seen done before. He was conducting the overture, and then he stopped, got off of the podium, went to the Steinway, and played Jasbo Brown, and then finished Jasbo Brown and got back up to the podium and finished conducting. And I was like, no,
Sounds about right.
what's happening? What? I had never seen anybody do that so flawlessly and seamlessly and brilliantly. And I wasn't able to get a clip of that, but I got another fantastic example of him doing something very similar. I want you to watch this and be inspired and moved and understand what greatness looks like. Now,
Yay! That's what I'm
Now,
talking about.
I don't know who y'all friends with, but that's my friend.
What?
I don't understand when folks say they don't know how to find people to conduct and do and all of that. That right there is genius. That is excellence. That is everything. And American orchestras, y'all need to get yourselves together and get that man on the phone and get him over here and conduct at every major orchestra across the globe, but particularly here in the United States. Get yourselves together.
Period.
Amen.
Period.
Amen.
Period. The man conducts opera. He conducts sacred music. He plays piano and organ. He does all of it. Get yourselves together. All these companies around here doing all these operas, particularly Porgy and Bess, and you don't know how to find the right people to lead the orchestra and the company properly.
And play the piano. And play the piano. Because that score is no joke.
He can play that score without the score.
Wait. Sometimes our pianists in rehearsals.
Sometimes.
I'll try to be nice.
I'm only drinking water.
No, but sometimes he had to stand up. And shall I tell you that we had somebody who came in like gonna try to play Jazz Bo Brown for about half a day. And I don't know. The next thing we know, it was a recording of Wayne playing Jazz Bo Brown.
Wow.
As Bo Brown time.
I mean, just incredible. Absolutely incredible. This man is a genius. It's absolute genius. So, Calvin, what was that Vienna experience like for you, sir?
It was a wonderful experience. It's just an hour away from where I live by plane, but in the middle of the pandemic, I had my reservations, but I also knew that it was a blessing, and I was not infected with it. So I had the covering of God on me, and it was okay because we got tested every 4 days, and we are a disciplined lot. We knew to stay in. We went to work. We did what we had to do, and then we went home. And that's basically it. We stayed safe. We stayed healthy. Nobody in our cast or in that company that I know of now, and I'm still in contact with a lot of people there, no one has corona. The other opera houses who are not covered by the blood, but we were. So thank you, Yahweh.
Listen, Porgy always saves the day. In so many ways, it saves the day.
It saved it saved the city. It saved the city. I always
say Porgy always wins.
Yeah.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Hello, David Anthony Lofton is here.
Yes,
David.
hi,
How are you, sir?
Yes.
And to Deidre Robinson, yes, that recording of Wayne is on YouTube. Yes, you can find it on YouTube. Wayne he's just amazing. So I have had y'all here for almost 2 hours. It's crazy because it just feels like we just sat down. I have some quick fire questions that I ask all my guests at the end of the show. So answer with the first answer that comes. You don't have to think a lot about it, but this will give the audience a chance to know you just a wee bit better. So this first question will go in order of Calvin, Brandy, Eric, Tashina, Mary Elizabeth. What is your favorite voice part other than your own?
Mezzo soprano, dramatic mezzo soprano.
Basso profundo.
Oh.
Soprano, full lyric soprano.
It's a toss-up for me. I love a Verdi tenor and a Verdi soprano.
Definitely a dramatic baritone.
Okay, thank you. What is what is your favorite? Breakfast, lunch, dinner, or dessert? Let's go in the order of Tashina, Brandy, Eric, Mary Elizabeth, Calvin.
Dinner.
Is it me? I would have to say dinner at breakfast time.
Oh,
That's what I did today.
I have to say it's breakfast for me.
late breakfast. Late.
I got that. Listen, I don't do AM either, girl. I know.
And I'd have to say I like a good dessert.
Okay.
I like a good dessert any time of the day.
Yeah.
Mhm.
This next question, let's go with Eric, Mary Elizabeth, Calvin, Tashina, and Brandy. What profession other than your own would you like to attempt, and would you also not like to attempt?
That I would like to attempt and that I would not like to attempt. Oh, the profession I would like to attempt is medicine. I would love to be a doctor. What I would like not to attempt is probably probably being the president of the United States. Politician.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would like to attempt, there are a lot of things I'd like to attempt, but I would suppose I would like to write for TV or movie.
Okay. Is that comedy or dramatic writing?
Dramatic. But, I'm open. And what I would not like to do is anything that requires, like, motor oil. Mechanic. I don't want to, no. Car mechanic. I don't want to repair. I don't want to be a plumber. I don't want motor oil, but that's other kind of, no, nothing.
What I would like to attempt, I'd like to be a pilot.
Oh,
I love flying.
I'm not getting on that plane. I am not getting on that plane.
Well, it's good because I can't see, but I would love to be a pilot. But what I would not like to be is a failure.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Me.
Yes.
Mhm.
I would like to do law or some other form of helping people in this type of way, as law or engaged in activities that benefit others. Also, and I would never want to do anything with a profession that concerns sanitation.
Okay.
I started on this path, I would love to be a forensic psychologist. I wanted to dig into the minds of serial killers.
I love serial killers too. I get in a look. I watch the ID channel in like a marathon. Like I love the serial killers.
Yeah, definitely. And I would definitely not want to be a government worker. Those people are just always mean and they have tubes, and I wouldn't.
The post office is the worst. It's like, is it on the application to be nasty? Like, do you have to check that box?
It has to be.
Try immigration.
Yeah.
Immigration is worse than all of them.
All of them.
Okay, let's go with now Calvin, Mary, Elizabeth, Tashina, Brandy, Eric. What is your favorite curse word? And yes, you can say it.
Oh, I don't curse.
That's a lie.
from the fiery pits.
That's a lie.
Oh, isn't this a Christian show?
It's not.
I,
I keep telling you, y'all are real. I know the Jesus who flips tables. Now, if you don't, if you have this sanitized version of who he is,
okay, well, gosh, whichever one comes to my mind.
I know that's right.
All of them are effective. Every single one of them. And when I say it, I mean it. I don't apologize after I curse.
I have a little bit of a potty mouth. I also curse at home. I keep it at home. But now that I'm married to an Italian, I have a whole new repertoire of cursing, right? So, and the Italian cursing is really deep. Like they talk about mama. They talk about the ancestors of your mama.
Yep. They do go there.
Yes. And they talk about the Madonna.
Yes.
And they compare her to farm animals. I mean, it's rough.
Yes.
wow.
Mm.
So one of the things that my husband says often that makes me laugh is "imur to the mamata," which is also not just Italian, that is pugliese, my husband's dialect from where he, and I always know that's when I need to like just either bring him something to warm him and keep him calm and stroke him, or I need to leave because that's when he's going to get started with more. But yeah, I have lots of fun with curse words. But "imur to the mamata" is my favorite right now.
What is that loosely translated as?
The death of your mother.
Mother.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So it's not great.
Brand.
So yes, my curse words are also in my adopted land's language. And there are actually two that, I mean, if I'm in a situation where I need to lay it out, one, I actually am not even sure is a curse word anymore. Even though it's a curse word for us, I hear kids say all the time, "Scheisse," "Scheisse,"
Yeah.
Which of course means shit, but but I have to say, when I don't curse too often. When I'm really mad and I'm in German, I want to say something, I love to say, "Leck mich am Arsch." Or sometimes I just make it short and say, "Leck mich."
Right.
Yeah.
And I think we got that translation.
We got that.
Okay, so I guess I'm gonna be the only one to be potty mouthed on here today because I haven't heard one American curse word. Goddamn.
I like that one.
Goddamn.
Yes.
And
Eric
mine is at mine. I don't use them often, but if I say something, it's "damn it," probably.
Okay.
Yeah. So damn it.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. So what is the country that you most love to visit, and what is the country that you have not visited that you really want to go to? Let's go Tashina, Mary Elizabeth, Brandy, Eric, Calvin.
Well, I sang so much in Italy, and I still really love Italy, and I still love to visit it, and I still love all things Italian. But the country that I intend to visit, and who knows, maybe, you never know where the wind is going to take you. I wouldn't mind spending some time there. I shouldn't say, I don't know which country, but I want to go to the land of Africa.
Gotcha.
I'm next, right?
Mm-hmm.
I love Portugal. I love Portugal. I went there as a student, and I did get young artist program there. I've sung there professionally. I've been on vacation there. I love Portugal. And a place I would like to go that I've never been is Scotland. Never been to
Oh,
Scotland.
Scotland's gorgeous. Oh my God, Edinburgh in particular.
Yeah, I would like to go to Scotland.
I too love Italy. It was one of my favorites. I would really, it's kind of a Italy and France are probably neck and neck. And where I would really love to go is any country in Asia. I've never been. I really want to experience Asia.
Mine would be, my place probably would be Spain. I mean, even though I love Italy, I would just say, to Tuscany would be perfect for me. But I have to say Spain. I would go ahead and say Spain. Probably Granada again. I love Granada. And the place I would like to go, I think it would probably be somewhere in New Zealand. I would love New Zealand.
And notice New Zealand has handled this pandemic better than everybody else in the world.
Yes. So, yeah.
They got good leadership.
Come on.
Lady leaders.
And I guess mine, I love Italy as well, but I really love the Netherlands, Amsterdam. That's my favorite city and country so far. And the place I'd love to go that I've never been to, which is hard because I've been to 76 countries already, but I think I would like to go to Fiji. I've always wanted to go to Fiji. I don't know what's there, but I've always wanted to go.
I bet it's beautiful. You'll love it.
Wow. Okay, and my last question, actually before my last question, I wanted to give you all an opportunity to leave the audience with something, either an encouraging word or letting them know where you are, what you're doing, what's coming up for you, or whatever you want to say to the audience, to the folks out there. Let's start with Eric.
First of all, it's just an honor to be on this show again, this platform. And before I say something to the audience, I want to say something to you all, to Brandy, to Sheena. First, congratulations on your Grammy nomination. I want to say that. And the Met. And then to Kenny, I would like to say to you, congratulations, my brother, on your Grammy nomination as well with Richard Danielpour's Yeshua.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, Yeshua's Mass. Is it the Mass?
Yeah, it's the Passion.
Passion. Yes,
yeah.
But yeah. Yeshua's Passion.
Black Jesus. Black Jesus.
Yeah, Black Jesus. Right. So I wanted to say that I am so honored to be in the company of you amazing artists. Mary Elizabeth knows how I feel about her. We haven't worked together since when we first worked together. It was Dona Nobis Pacem, and when we did the Songs of a Slave, Songs to the Slave, or Songs of a Slave, I think it was.
Oh,
Songs
the Kirk Meacham.
Yeah, Meacham.
Yeah,
yeah. So we did that, and it was just artistry. The artistry that I'm looking at here on this screen right now is just, I am honored to be in your company, and thank you so much for allowing me to sharpen myself against you guys, because definitely you are iron. Honestly, each one of you, Calvin, Mary, Tashina, Brandy, and we've not worked together, Kenny, but you're doing your thing, brother.
Listen, let's do a Giovanni and Leporello together.
Let's do it. Let's make it happen. But to the audience, to everyone listening, I want to say something to everyone. Never let anyone else set the bar for your success and tell you what success is, what success looks like through the eyes or the lens of anyone else. You define what success is and go after it for yourself, and be happy, be content in your success. Be happy in your success, that you don't have to throw it up against anyone else's success, because their success will not look like yours. But if you are content with what you have accomplished and what you have done, you are fulfilled in the essence of life you have captured. Because I think that is really the essence of what we try to do, is to be successful, to make a mark. And if you have made it, if you've said it, you know what it is, you can live and enjoy that. And I think that's been very important for me, and it's been the thing that has kept me motivated and continues to keep me moving forward in this business that we're in. And I think that's very, very important for young, middle career people, or later career people, wherever you are in your career. Yeah, that's important, I think, to keep. And I thank you for taking the time out of your day to listen to us and enjoy us today. I think that's the last thing I wanted to say. Thank you.
Tashina.
I'm sorry, what was the question again? That was so beautiful,
No,
Eric.
what
It was beautiful. It
whatever
was
you want to
beautiful.
say.
Oh yes. Well, I second, Eric, in my estimation for all my not even friends, my family of and my Porgy peeps, as I like to call them. Porgy. I want to speak about this. Porgy and Bess has played a huge role in my life, as you guys know. I started, with the Porgy and Bess at the Met in 1989. With all those great and just like Eric said, the family that was Porgy with Gordon and Camilla and Priscilla Baskerville and all these people, they folded me in and taught me as a 23-year-old green North Carolina girl who had not even really been to New York that much, didn't know even really what it was all about. They were really and over the years, I say that I've sung all the women of Porgy and Bess, because I was Serena many times, and then when we would do those concert versions, you could sing a little Bess, and now I'm Mariah's and Lily's and Annie's, and I've done Strawberry Woman, and so anyway, I want to hold up this great work because we do still hear that people, I don't know if I want to do it, I don't want to get pigeonholed, I don't want to get but I want people to understand this is an absolute masterpiece. That when Gershwin went to Alban Berg and said he wanted to do the American Volkslied. So, and we see so many times that people underestimate it, especially
Mhm.
conductors and pianists and, instrumentalists when they pick it up and they go, oh, I didn't know, but more than that, it is something that, I feel is like you say, when you go to do a Porgy and Bess, you like Mary said, she was free. It's like you're at home with your people. You feel this opportunity to experiment, to expand, to try some things perhaps that you've never done. I mean, I've seen Eric Green. I was there with his Porgy in E&O, and I've been there with this Porgy that he did here, and I've seen this Porgy has taken on a stature that you cannot imagine,
Sure
which will
is.
infuse then all of the other things that he wants to do. So, I really just want to put that out there that, that's old theory that Porgy will lock you into some kind of Porgy life. And even if it did lock you into a Porgy life, it's still not a bad life. But yeah, and I want to, give honor to all of you guys. And I can't even tell you how much I love you. And, yeah, and it's just great to be a part of it. Like Eric said, I'm very honored and grateful. And I just have to plug my show because I've done videos with all these people on this screen. As you know, I did Behind the Row before, and I haven't had a chance to put them up yet. But coming soon will be personal portraits of all these people on my YouTube channel. And I decided not to call it Behind the Row, so I don't want to just limit it to Porgy. So I now call it Behind the Show. So stay tuned for that so you can learn more about all these amazing people on the screen. And I'm going to go back and scoop up Kenny later on.
Fantastic. Mary Elizabeth.
Well, I'm sitting here and listening to my beloved colleagues and friends and all the beautiful things that they have to say. And of course, I co-sign what they have already said. I think one of the reasons why I like being a singer is that I get to express myself through other people's words that are prepared. But I'm going to do my best to just say, I think we're living through a really rough time. And so, to the audience and to my fellow singers, I would like to just express compassion and love and say to all of us, including myself, remind everyone that this is the time that we need to be nice to ourselves. We need to be nice and loving, and we need to accept the reality that we are living now, but always with love, keep our hearts and minds open for the better that will come. And we need to constantly remind ourselves and each other of the beauty of being alive, because I know that this is a difficult, difficult time for a lot of us, for lots of different reasons. And so I hope that you feel that I'm giving you a digital hug, because yes, giving you a digital hug, everybody. And I just want you to hold on through this tempest, and let's hold on to each other, and then we'll get through it together. That's what I want to say.
Keep your hand on the plow and hold on.
Janina.
Hold on. Tell us about it, Brandy. What you got to say, darling?
Listen, I piggyback off of everybody saying that, it's an honor to be on this platform with these singers, because everybody on the screen I have watched and adored, because I'm like the baby. So I look up to all of you all, like, and I'm like, what can I learn from them today? What, just watching them on stage. So very honored to be a part of the number. But I do want to say that Black people, can we come together and can we do our own thing? And that's not to exclude anybody else, but the crabs in a barrel mentality is old. It's old. We have to link, and we have to figure out a way. Kenny, what you're doing here is it will preface that, I think. Bringing these people together and letting the world know about people that they probably never would have known about, the geniuses that are out here that look like us that people don't know about. So I thank you for doing what you're doing. But I just want us to support each other and to just come together, and let's not really look at COVID. It's all about perspective. Let's not look at it as, oh, life is done, I'm broke for however long, I don't have work, but take it as, what can I glean from this time? What can I use this block of time to do to better myself, to figure out how I can get with my colleagues and make a plan of action and execute? Because what I don't like is for us to always sit around and complain about, well, Black people, they don't do this for Black people, they don't do it. Why are we waiting for them to give us the power that we already have?
Amen.
I just want us to come together and love and support each other and continue doing the things such as this platform right here for each other, for our brothers and our sisters.
Thank you, sweetheart. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I love me some you.
I love me some you.
Calvin, what you got to say?
Well, I say, get off your butts and do what you want to do while you can. Because you know what? We only have one life to live. And if you sit back, I don't play the lotto, but I do take a lot of chances in life with a lot of things. And I always said to myself, when I get older, I don't want to say I shoulda, woulda, coulda. I did it. It didn't work out the way I wanted it to, but you know what? I did it. I did something towards it. So I say, do what you need to do with caution, of course, and taste and reason. But my other thing is help people. I used to be very stingy when I was younger. I was very selfish, but now as I've grown older and wiser, the song comes to me. If I can help somebody as I pass along, if I can cheer somebody with a word or song, if I can show somebody they are traveling wrong, then my living shall not be in vain. And that's what we need to do.
Amen.
We are our brother's keeper.
Yeah.
When you hurt, I hurt. When you are happy, I am happy.
That's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely
So
fantastic. Thank you, darling. I so appreciate you. And so my last question that I ask all of my guests is, when you arrive at the pearly gates, what would you like to hear God say? Let's go in any order you wish.
Well done, good and faithful servant.
Ooh.
That's all I
I
live
guess
for.
I think I'd like to hear. We have a lot of people up here that are waiting for you and that will be happy to see you.
I would like to hear "Welcome Back."
Oh, come on now. Come on.
I would like to hear "I Knew You Could Do It."
Great
he'd
question.
probably say, "Let me check my books." But
What's your name again?
right. But he'd say, "Come on in, come on in."
And it's so funny. A couple weeks ago, I had the legendary Barbara Hendricks on, and she said, I would want to hear him say, "Choir rehearsals in 30 minutes. Go pick up your robe."
I know that's right. Come on.
I love it. I love it. Well, don't sign off, you guys, until I talk to you off the air. But thank you so much for spending over 2 hours with me during this Thanksgiving weekend. And please continue to take care of yourselves and each other and love on each other. And I'm so grateful for your friendship and being colleagues with you and admiring you. And you inspire me to continue and to do what I need to do. And it's because of your greatness. They say, you know, a bouquet of roses, none of the roses fight each other. They let each other bloom. Everybody has their own bloom. And so I feel like I'm a part of this gorgeous bouquet with all of you. And so I'm blessed by your presence. I am blessed by your friendship, and just keep on keeping on. And to everybody who came and watched today, thank you so much for spending this afternoon with us. And the show will be back at its regularly scheduled Monday time on Monday, December the 7th, and at 7 p.m. So I look forward to seeing you there. And in the meantime, finish up those leftovers. And then when the leftovers are done, get out there and work them off. All right.
Thank you, Kenny. Thank you
Kenny.
so
very
much
much,
for
Kenny.
all that you
Mwah.
do.
Thank you.
You know, ever since Connecticut, you know, you guys organized
Oh my
that thing,
gosh.
and I came and did a concert at Heart that you guys organized. You've been putting on platforms for us. Thank you, Kenneth Overton.
Thank you, Kenneth
very
Overton.
much.
Indeed.
Thank you very much, sir.
We trying.
Yes.
I'm gonna continue to celebrate us unabashedly, unapologetically, and full on. We got 400 years to make up for, huh?
Come on.
So
That's right, Price.
so
That's right.
yeah. Thank you so much, everybody. I love y'all, and we'll see you on Monday, December the 7th at 7 p.m. We'll talk to you soon. God bless.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Cheers. Cheers.